Hey, good afternoon, Wayne Streak. This is Colin. I also go by the Indie Game Dude as well as Brainwave Creations. I just wanted to make a quick video today, just in response to your teleportation collision check video that you had uploaded earlier this month. So this was the most bare bones way that I could come up with to have the player object teleport without getting stuck in these solid objects. So all these green columns here, they just have the solid behavior assigned to them. And then for the player, you can disregard all this. This is kind of like a playground project where I test different mechanics. So I do have a bunch of different layouts up here where I can play around with and test different things. So today I just worked on the teleport. It took about half an hour and threw this together. So the solid objects, they simply have the solid behavior. The player object, in this instance, you can disregard the flash as well as the physics. Those are both disabled in this layout. So I'm using the platform behavior, default behavior with some customized speeds here, settings here. That's enabled, and then the only other behavior on the player object would be the custom movement behavior, which I did mention in the previous YouTube comment that I left here on your video. So let's see here. So that's enabled. Platform is behavior is enabled as well. So let's jump over to the event sheet. So you can disregard all this. Again, that's just for other gameplay mechanics that I'm testing and playing around with. So what we want to focus on is A keyboard events here. On A pressed or A is down. That simulates platform pressing left and then sets the mirrored. D pressed, D down, simulates pressing right, not mirrored, uh, which would be the regular use for that. Then when spacebar is down, it simply simulates the jump behavior or the jump action in the platform behavior. You can disregard everything that's disabled here. That's for other mechanics as well. So simply A right, move down mirror, or move right mirror. D, move left mirror. A down, or not A down, space is down, press jump. And that's pretty much it for the movement. And then down here for the teleport without getting stuck in solids, all I have is on the Z key, once that's pressed, basically two sub-events below that. This one checks player if it is mirrored. In that case, or if it's not mirrored rather, in that case the player is facing to the right, so we want to set the X position to the current player dot X plus, in this case I did 400 pixels for the teleportation distance. Then this one checks if the player is mirrored. In that case, we'd be moving to the left. So in that case, same exact thing, set the X coordinate to the current player dot X minus 400 pixels. And I did play around with this a little bit. I did spend some time. I checked the opposite angle nearest. I did a couple sub events with left and right, but this was the most bare bones way to get it to work without any bugs. Was just the another condition here. If the player object is overlapping one of those green solids, just push the player out at the nearest angle. So that's the only event in this event sheet where I'm using that custom movement enabled over here. Pixels per step, I just left that at 5. So let's go ahead, jump on in. And as you can see, I can move around, and if I hit Z, in that case it pushed me over the 400 pixels. I was right on the edge here, so it did force me out of the left. Same in this direction, it's taking off 400 pixels off that X coordinate, which would put me right here in the solid, and then it pushed me out to the right of that solid. So if we move a little bit more to the right, and then do Z, That should have put me somewhere over here within that green solid, so it pushed me out to the right, so we can teleport back through. Then if we're on this side, same thing. It's going to push me out to that right or to the left side of that solid there. So I hope that makes sense. As you can see, I teleported through both on that one and wound up on the right-hand side of this. The only check that I didn't do is going off screen, so you can actually teleport yourself right out of the view and not go anywhere. So that would be one issue to take into consideration is checking if the player does go out of your layout, then have some math to force the player's X position back into the layout into a position that makes sense. But yeah, I hope that all makes sense. Let me close out of here. And what I found out you could do is if you wanted to add a couple more events, what you can do is you can copy these two sub-events under the one here if it's overlapping the solid. And then what you can do is if it's not mirrored, you can set this to push left. So that way if you go into the solid moving to the right, it'll push you out to the left-hand side. And then under player is mirrored if it's overlapping a solid. What you can do is come down here, change that to push out to the right, and then it's the same thing, just reversed. So if you're moving to the left and you go into a solid, it'll push you out to the right hand side of the solid. But in that case, you would have to play around with the pixels per step, which is basically when stepping is enabled, the number of pixels to move each step. So depending on which direction you're moving and the way your layout's set up and the way you're colliding with solid objects, you would have to play around with the pixels per step setting right here on the left-hand side. Yeah, I hope this helps. This was like I said, the most bare bones way. I just have two directions, space bar to jump, left, right, mirrored or not mirrored, depending on which direction you move. Then if it's mirrored, jump over 400. If it's not mirrored, jump or minus 400, and then pushing out at the nearest free space out of that solid object. And I do definitely recommend playing around with the custom movement. There is a lot there that you can play around with. Let's go to custom. So you can like enable, disable a lot of things here for the angle of motion. One thing that I found really super helpful is this reverse. So invert the direction of motion. So say you're using the custom movement to do like an 8-directional character, and you want him to kind of dash backwards, which I saw in a video earlier this week. I'm not sure if that was yours or another constructory dev that uploads to YouTube, but they had like an airplane that was flying around in 8 directions, and then when a button was pressed, it would dash backwards a set amount. So what you can do is you can actually invert the direction of motion here, which will flip it 180, and then accelerate, or you can even do accelerate towards position, and then just take the player angle, and then how would that work? Divide that by 2, or times it by 180. I forget off the top of my head, but there is an easy way to do it just with a single check, accelerating towards the position, but move it in the opposite angle that the player object is currently moving. And you do a lot here. You can accelerate, stop, reverse, set speed, etc. Stop stepping, that basically stops any of the steps, pixels per step, during the firing of that system tick. So yeah, I definitely recommend playing with the custom movement behaviors here. They are super helpful, whether you're making a platformer, 8-directional, shoot 'em up, you name it. There's a lot of useful things there. But yeah, I'll leave this uploaded to my channel. I hope that all made sense. I hope this was useful. And yeah, I hope you have a great day, great weekend. And till next time, take care and peace out.